Hey everyone, Nick and Mike from Onslaught Studios.
That's right, new banners.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're cool. We got them from Staples. Anyone looking for banners, they do a nice job.
Good price, really nice looking.
Yeah,
Nice heavy duty fabric.
Yeah.
For vinyl.
Of course, you got to do your own artwork, but if you got an artist, you can do that.
Yeah.
Today, what we decided to do is we're going to talk about Trixie and tutorials.
Yeah, so lately what we've been working on in Trixies is we've been doing all the tutorials. For those of you who already have the beta, great. What you'll notice in it is we have those little tutorials pop up. Do we have tutorials pop up? Yeah, we have full text, full screen of text that pops up before each level, describing what you're about to experience in the level.
Which we did a little game testing and found out no one reads them.
Yeah. Quickly found out no one reads them.
Yes, including ourselves.
Yeah.
We're not big readers.
If you don't have Trixies and don't know what we're talking about, get it, and then you'll know what we're talking about.
It's free.
It is free. It's free. Trixie's Tilted Adventure Beta on Google Market. Get it, enjoy it, and you'll see what we're talking about. The next update should have the new tutorials, which we're going to talk about here.
Right.
So I think what we'll do here is we'll give a nice little overview of the progression of Onslaught Studios tutorials as our games have gone on, and
how we have approached them
in the past,
right or wrong, how we've done it,
the pluses and minuses to
what we've learned or think we've learned, and how we're implementing at this point.
Yeah. So our first game was Paddle Battle, and that was done. Oh God, 2006, 6 and 7,
thereabouts. Yes.
Yeah. Been at this for a while. No, I read 2010.
Was it 10?
10.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It was a while ago.
Still been at it for a while. And in that game, we put 0 tutorials. I don't even think the tutorial is describing what each one of the special obstacles does. If there is, it's definitely not in gameplay.
It's not in gameplay. You have to actually go to the help menu to find your tutorials there, and it will tell you in text version a quick overview of what each one does. Sadly to say, that was a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. No one knew what anything did.
Right.
And it was kind of a trial by fire kind of thing. So people that enjoyed that, they loved it because, no tutorials to go through right in the game. But they had no idea what was going on.
Right. It was just definitely confusing. That game has a lot of different things going on, and you really could use some explanation.
Yeah. Yeah. That was our first pass at it. I would say that's probably the best thing about it was people can get into it real quick. People didn't know what they were doing. We felt our symbols were, quite explanatory. A snail for slowing you down, stuff like that. Puff of smoke for a smoke screen. But, there's still the need for tutorial because, we make a connection doesn't necessarily mean everyone else makes the same connection.
Right. And the bottom line is to always assume that the person that you're trying to teach or whatever knows absolutely nothing, less than the average human.
Than an average computer or phone user.
Right.
Exactly.
It's just you're trying to teach them from knowing nothing.
Yeah.
Always figure it that way, and that's probably your best bet.
Definitely. So our next game was Bombo. Bombo Goes Nuts. You can get to play that on Wii. And what we did in that one is we took a bit of a different approach. We decided to put up the tutorials as you experienced what was about to go on. So in that game, you're collecting bombs. So the first time you saw a bomb pop up, we had a huge block of text come up on the screen describing what a bomb was, what happened if a bomb blew up, what happened when you collected a bomb. And while this was much better because they got the idea, like it was happening, we're like, oh, what's that bomb? And so now we answered their question.
Right. Immediately the question was answered. Problem being is, nobody really wants to do the reading. And it was a lot.
Huge block of text. It was
literally
like a page and a
paragraph or better. I mean, the easiest one was a paragraph.
Yeah.
We probably could have made it better with less, condensing the text. But even still, I think the text would still be way too much in that game.
Yeah. And another problem that came with this is, and we've experienced this actually in Trixies, and if anyone has an idea how to solve this, please tell me. The problem you have is when you first start the game's got to throw a certain level of stuff at you just to play.
Right.
In Bombos, you needed to know about how to navigate tracks, how to collect bombs, and who the knight was. But what this did is it put up 3 tutorials, 3 pages of text real quick, one after another.
One right after another, yeah.
And every game I played has this issue, as far as I can remember.
Basic game mechanic needs to be understood before you can play any game.
Mhm.
I mean, I can't even think of any game that you don't, unless, let's say, it's a racing game or something
Even those
along
go
that
through it.
line, because, I mean, everyone pretty much knows you got to steer and hit the gas pedal,
You can take
that
those
kind of
some
thing.
things. But
So those things, I guess, could be taken for granted. But in general, the game mechanic needs to be explained in every game before you can even enter the game.
Yep.
Before you can start gameplay.
In some games you can hide it better. I think that's maybe what we should have looked for there. Like a racing game hides it under getting your license.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Things like that. But that's really what they're doing for you. They're teaching you what button speeds you up, what button slows you down.
Exactly.
Those things. So once again, huge blocks of text. No one wanted to read it. So people were like, "Oh yeah, whatever," and moved on. When things actually happened, they had no idea why. Our next game, Square Tear. Since it was a slower game, we could take a slightly different approach here. And it's a solitaire game, so people are kind of expecting the instructions to be separate.
I think hard-playing people are more accepting to reading rules to the game before playing it.
Like a board game, get the instruction booklet, stuff like
people. I mean, you wouldn't pull Monopoly out and never played it before and not gone to the rule book first.
Exactly.
And so I think it's kind of expected in that kind of game.
So here we were able to put it on a separate page. When you played each individual game, there was a help button, which brought you specifically to the page for that game.
Explain the rules specific to that game.
But what I think we did really good there is two things. One, we categorized the instructions really well. So, what's my question? Oh, I want to know how to move. So there was a little section saying, move.
Right.
Or play. What's my goal? We had a section called goal. And then there we only had a sentence or two instead of a paragraph.
Right.
So it was real quick to look up what you wanted.
And I think that's fairly successful for that game.
No one's really been asking too many questions about that. There's been some other questions, but it's not been about gameplay.
Right. I think it explains the gameplay pretty good, and I think the card gamer understands. I got to read this in order to understand the game. You got to learn the game first. Like I said, Risk, Monopoly, all those things. You obviously have to read the instructions first. Mm-hmm. It's not something you can just jump into, and you expect to in that type of game.
Yep, and that comes down to another thing: is part of knowing your demographic. There we were hitting board game, card game players, and that's kind of what they do. They pick up a new board game, new card game.
Generally, they're an older aged player, so they're more tolerant to that kind of thing. They're expecting to read instructions.
Instead of a little Twitch gamer, where it's just like, I want to jump into Twitch.
Right. I just want to play the game. I don't want to. I don't want to deal with it.
And
which is where Trixies.
It's where Trixies come in, because Trixies is focusing a bit more of an action Twitch. Fast kind of feel.
For the casual gamer and stuff. I mean, if you're sitting in a doctor's office and you're going to play a game for 10 minutes while you're waiting for the doctor, or depending on the doctor, a half hour, you don't want to read the you don't want to read the instructions. You want to play the damn game.
Yeah. So you can jump right in and go. So we worked on the Trixies, and we actually started, like you said, with the big block of text. And the second we put it in people's hands, they saw a big block of text, said, "Oh, tutorial, click, done."
Yeah, got it. I'm moving on.
And then, sure enough, level 2 hits, and they got to throw the cone, or they're getting to the cones. And they're like, "Oh crap! How do I get past this? It's completely blocked off." And they're like, "Oh, if you fling through the cone, they got it." And they're like, "Oh, so much better."
Right. But the first time through, they all blew through the directions. All the tutorials, they blew through it, and we had to reset the tutorial for them, or they went and found the tutorial reset button, and then actually read through it and said, "Oh, that's what I got to do."
Yep.
So we decided that was not the way to go. And we kind of knew that from the start on this game. And so we took a different approach.
Yeah, the approach we're taking is, first of all, much less words. I think at any time we have 10 words or less on the screen. So that's like a medium to short sentence instead of 2 to 4 sentences like we have been doing.
Right.
So that makes it much quicker. Also, and this is like a very subtle thing, but I think it does work out. Instead of calling it tutorial, we're calling it a game hint. and I really think that helps because it just.
I know you seem to feel that really helps, and maybe it does. I have
the
no
word
clue.
tutorial has this bad stigma around it. Is that the right word for it?
Yeah, it sounds like tutorial sounds like work.
Exactly.
Game hint sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's like hint. You'll be better if you do this.
That's right. That's right. I will be a master if I take your hint. If I read your tutorial, I'll be bored.
Exactly. And we had a couple sentences. And the other big thing we did is where they're important ones, such as throwing a cone, avoiding a trike, collecting a star. We make you do that action before you can move on.
Right. So we literally have an animated hand that's showing you exactly what to do. A sentence above that tells you in the minimum amount of words, usually, like we said, 10 words or less, what to do. And then we actually make you do it, so you're literally playing as well. Exactly. So it's interactive. So I think that keeps your attention. I think it keeps you involved in the game, and I think it is it makes you have to do it in a fun way.
Yeah, it keeps it much faster moving.
Right.
You know, and even looking at it, we're setting up our first one, the whole intro to the game problem that I was mentioning before, where you have to go through 4 steps before you get there.
Right.
And I think the whole thing is going to take less than 30 seconds. And you're interactive.
And you're interacting. So you're learning but playing at the same time.
And that I think will keep it much more fun for everyone while still teaching them the core things.
Absolutely.
You know, absolutely. And then, in the way our game's designed, you meet these new obstacles as the game goes on. And each one, it's going to take you 10 to 15 seconds
to learn each
to do that one obstacle. And once again,
and you will learn it as it's relevant. So when that issue is going to come up, you're going to learn that just before doing it. And then you'll actually play a level where you're literally basically just doing that action.
Yeah. And I think that comes to level design too. I think if we introduce the cone, right? And then throw 4,000 cones on the screen, the next level for you.
Too much.
Way too much. So level design does build into the tutorial design, where the tutorial's quick, easy, simple, 1 cone. Level starts out with quick, easy, simple, 1 or 2 cones, and then by the end of the level, maybe you're doing 4 or 5 cones.
Right.
You know,
and
a couple levels more down the road, then you're doing 40 cones at a time. You know, it's that whole mastering it.
So we're going to build you in, but I think the key here is that the tutorial is going to be interactive, minimal text, and it's going to teach you right from the get-go in an interactive, fun way.
Yeah.
Instead of having to read it, and there's no way of missing what to have to do.
Yeah.
You know, you literally have to do it to move on. So you're going to know, I have to swipe to throw the cone, because if you don't, you cannot progress forward. And I think it's done in a fun enough way, quick enough way that it's not interfering into gameplay.
I mean, no matter who you are, tutorials are going to be kind of boring, but
yeah, well,
but we do make it as fun as possible.
It's a necessary evil. You can't play a game without learning the game mechanic and the rules. I mean, it's just then the game's no fun if you don't know the rules.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
the big problem is like, what do I do? I don't
it's just chaos. Now. It's no longer a game. It's just chaos.
But yeah, so we just wanted to give you a little quick rundown of what we've learned. And I've heard people say this a lot, and I've heard, I've been watching, some videos on tutorials and stuff, and I'm like, wow, that just makes perfect sense. But obviously, this is our 4th game, and it took us to this one to kind of really get it well.
Well, while it may make perfect sense, and I can't say that we didn't understand this concept from the start, it's not that easy to implement into your game. It's a lot of thinking, a lot of planning. You have to think of every little thing, and then figure human nature into this thing. How that's going to, uproot your whole progress.
Yeah.
I mean, you may say, well, this, and don't forget, you're working on a game like we have been. We've been working on Trixie for, I don't know, 3-4 months now. So you know everything about it. So it all makes sense to you.
We're playing some of these levels and we're like, oh, this is simple. But like the second you give someone who doesn't really know the game,
yeah, they're like, I just got to do
the hardest level they've ever played. Yeah.
I mean, we watch people. The game uses a simple tilting motion side to side, forward and back. Okay, so you got where's the camera? Here it is. So this here, fast, slow on the game. This here, tilt left and right. Okay, I had people tilting left and right, but doing this.
Yeah, using like a
steering wheel. You just don't know how people are going to comprehend what you're trying to explain.
Yep. And that brings on another big thing is, and this one took us a while to learn. First games we were always kind of quiet on. This one we've learned, get it out as soon as possible.
Yeah, as literally on Trixie, as soon as there was something remotely playable, we were
giving it to friends and family.
Yeah.
And then as we got something solid, we released it on Google Market. As you know, it's free, early to get right now. And we update that quite frequently. I'd say every 4 weeks at the latest, we put out an update.
At the latest, usually it's like every 2 weeks we update.
We put out an update with our newest things, and answer some questions for us.
Right. I mean, you're not getting everything at once, but through the course of all this, you'll probably see everything.
Oh yeah, you'll definitely see all the obstacles. Without a doubt,
you won't see all the levels, but you'll definitely see all the obstacles.
All the obstacles, the environments.
You'll see all the environments. You just won't see it in the final progression with all the levels involved. But yes, you'll in the free version, this demo version, this beta, if you will, you will see absolutely everything. That's going to be in the first release of the game for sure. And tutorials will be in the next release. I'm hoping for the end of next week.
Yeah, I think.
Is that realistic?
Week from now, give or take? Give or take a couple days?
A week to two. Let's put it within a week to two. I would guarantee that you're going to have the latest one with the new tutorials, and as well as some new levels.
I think we'll have a new obstacle in there too, right?
The bird poop.
The bird poop obstacle.
The bird poop obstacle will be in there.
That'll be a whole different story for a whole different
time. Awesome little obstacle. It's fun.
It's a rough one. I like that one though.
It's a difficult obstacle. It's fun. It's entertaining. If it doesn't make you laugh, then this isn't your game. I just don't know.
Because it still makes me laugh to this day.
I still laugh, and I've seen it a million times. So got to have some fun.
All right, that was a slightly longer one than our 5-minute prior ones, but I think hopefully we shed a little bit of hard-learned knowledge with everyone.
Well, yeah, I think sometimes it's best to just do a little teaching or sharing, if you will.
Sharing.
All right, and hopefully we'll be seeing people at. Our plan is Stony Brook University SAC. Hopefully, will be coming up soon, and GameStop.
Fingers crossed.
All right, take care. Everybody.